Let's hear something.
Oh, like for real, yo. Like,
Welcome to the soap. I'll be here like hype man. Let's go, Alan.
I said, hey, yo.
Hey.
hey, what's going on? This is the Soapboxx Podcast. I'm your host, TJ Legacy. And I'm here joined with the fam. But first, I want to tell y'all thank you for everybody who's rocking with us, shares our streams, watches our show. Yeah, that's definitely YouTube that is playing in the background. That shouldn't be. Oh, hold on, y'all. There we go. Yeah, so appreciate that. Thank you for rocking with us. We are here, live here with the family, going around the horn, all the way from NYC. What's going on, my man, Alan York? What's up? What's good?
Listen, man, I'm showing y'all some respect because I put a hat on today. And if I took this hat off, it would be very disrespectful to my brand. So good afternoon, good evening, y'all. How y'all feeling?
So you look like Wallace. You about to have them Wallace braids from The Wire.
Listen,
old Iverson braids.
I've been telling people I'm gonna go on YouTube. I'm gonna figure out how to braid myself before all of this is over.
Listen, man, and I see you eating the clean chicken and got the water jugs in the back. Post-pandemic, you were gonna be lit.
Listen, a lot of y'all are gonna be coming out looking like Jigglypuff, and that's okay because everyone has to deal with this pandemic how you deal with it. Just don't hit my phone because I'm gonna be looking sexy. You feel me? My skin gonna be clear.
Speaking of Jigglypuff, I just want to make sure that for the viewers who can see us, this is actually a salmon. This is salmon color. Okay, it's not pink. This is salmon. All right, so just to let y'all know. All the way from Duval County. What's good, Ish?
Hey, hanging in there. Glad we're at April 30th, the last day of this month for the COVID or coronavirus. Seeing what they're going to tell us for May and June. That's what I'm waiting to hear because I'm ready for this to be over. Too much advice, too many people talking. It's just so much energy, like ruffled energy in the air from this virus. I'm ready for it to die down.
Yo, so what's going on in your world, man?
Oh, yeah. So as far as that, all right. So I have a book reading coming up, guys, for June 27th. Guess what? We're still going to be abiding by stay-at-home rules. So we will be on Zoom. Anybody can tune in. We're going to start promoting the book tomorrow. It's going to be me and a couple of other women who share their stories about their relationship. It's called Daddy. And so here we share our stories about our relationships with our fathers. Each woman tells how it's affected her as a child into her adulthood, and also in her relationships with different people. So make sure you guys follow me at Ishna Y'Keal, ISHNA on Instagram, and Y'_Keal on Facebook. Getting my words jammed up, but you guys, you can follow me because I'll be tagged on this.
Word. So basically, if they have some, is it like you're talking about your issues with your father? Is it your issues or just women in general, or?
Right. So okay. There are different angles that each story has. Mine particularly is about having a dad who provided financially, more of the traditional type, who's very stable financially, but there was not a lot of emotion in our relationship, which a lot of times men may not think about it as long as they're doing their job as providers as far as financially, but it actually does weigh on your child. So that's my story, talking about be mindful of, yes, you're taking care of this in this area, but also know that your daughters need hugs, kisses, love. And I know a lot of men who are raised traditionally and have those traditional values and standards they're not with that touchy-feely stuff, but it's important because what happens is that we grow up not touching and feeling stuff. And so like for me, I'll end up being very homeboyish in my relationships, not super affectionate, because I wasn't used to it. Like I had to be conscious of like, hey, I never saw this, I never got it, but it's needed. Like humans need touch, men need touch, women need touch. And especially in romantic relationships, it's very important to have that in order for your relationship to survive. So I had to reflect and kind of like start correcting my behavior and my relationships with men. But I kind of discussed how I became that way.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Look, I'm I'm affectionate dude. I'm not like a koala bear, but like I try to show affection as much as possible. I need that. I like physical touch, and it's one of my love languages. You see what I'm saying?
And it's not a strong one for me. It's not a strong one for me. And I've had boyfriends who will touch me. I'm like, ugh, like they'll kiss my nose. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, we're not animals, so, which is obviously.
Wait, you had a nigga kiss your nose?
Yes, like my forehead, like my entire face. He would kiss all over my face, my forehead, my nose, cheeks, lips, whatever. But it would make me squeamish because it was just like in too many places. And I just like, we're not animals. Like, we don't need to do all this. Like, are you going to eat my face off? Just like stuff, not very receptive of his affection. So I had to check myself. I had to check myself in situations like that.
So when he's trying to show you affection, you just start a roast. Like, nigga, you soft.
Yes, exactly.
What you doing with yourself?
Right.
What are you, Eskimo kisses?
Yes. Are we in the jungle?
Yo, so all the way, I look forward to reading that book. I thought you was gonna leave one under my seat. That's why I checked under. I looked this way to see if it was under. You get a book. You get a book. You all get a book. Yo, all the way from Boston. What's good, Jesse? What's good?
What's popping? Hey guys, how's everybody doing?
What's going on in your world, Jesse?
What's going on in my world is I'm working from home. It's great. I'm live.
How's that going with the kids?
It's going okay. Some days are easier than others. There are some days where I'm trying to get stuff done and they're running around like wild animals. But I mean, I guess that's expected. I have 2 boys and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So it's cool. Other than that, I just reached 36,000 followers on Instagram.
Hey, here.
And I'm feeling good about that. I'm feeling good. And you know something I realized? We had that last live with Ted, and consistency and just not being fearful of failing, that's like important. And the last video that I posted was just me having fun. And at first I was like, I'm not gonna post this because like I want people to see like I'm crazy like that. But then I was like, you know what? If I'm putting myself out there, then I'm gonna put myself out there 100%, and this is who I am. So it benefited me, and I'm feeling good about that.
You got a lot of gold on today.
You already know.
Bust down the roller. What's up? Talk to him. It's that 36,000. 36,000 money.
This is a Movado, much cheaper than a Rolex, actually. So.
My bad, Mrs. T.
Yeah, she's just iced out, huh?
Well, let me not even get into it.
Well, yo, all the way from Tallahassee's own. What's good, Javonni? What's up? How you doing?
Hey, hi everyone. Everything is good.
Javonni's stunting on everybody with her background. I love it. I see my face. I love it.
I know. I'm so happy that I was even able to have this background. But yeah, everything is good for me. I am proud of myself. We are continuing that, right?
Yes. Okay. No. This is sweatshops. No. Don't make people think like I friggin' y'all abuse children. Go ahead.
Right. But no, yeah, so I am proud of myself. I did like a 30-day fast. Now I wasn't completely like not eating, but I was doing like intermediate type eating, like not eating until 7 p.m. or then the next day I'll not eat the whole day, and then the next day I'll only eat breakfast, or then the next day I'll only drink water, like things like that. Whatever it was, where I had to actually challenge my strength in my mind.
Is it spiritual? Like you praying with it, or
yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, a lot of praying.
If you wasn't praying, it would just be like people would be like, "Oh, that's just me being poor." Like,
no. That would just be more so like somebody trying to lose weight, I guess. Yeah. But I'm not trying to lose weight. It was for me to have my own reconnection with God. I'm really trying to practice this thing that I've been reading more about, like a spiritual awakening. But I want my spiritual awakening to be more tied to Jesus. So that's what I've been doing. no makeup except when I'm on camera at work. And yeah, it feels good. I feel natural, and I just been doing my own thing. On Monday,
you've been burning them incense, huh?
I've been burning them incense. Listen, anytime I feel a negative thought, I was immediately into a prayer. So
look, there's some nigga right now with a chicken foot growing out of his neck because Javonni done changed the house.
I can't, DJ. I really can't.
It cleanses stuff. No, I dig it though. I dig it. I think that's always good that people take away some in order to center yourself. Like I keep telling myself I want to start yoga and meditation. I keep telling myself, like, I think that stuff's healthy.
Oh yeah, it's definitely healthy. I tried yoga. I mean, I did it for more so exercise than I did it for I guess a peace of mind. But in general, I feel like during this whole COVID-19 process, one of the things that I wanted to try to do differently was not give myself away to so many other things other than myself. And so for the last 2 months, I feel like I've just really been pouring into myself and giving everything to God and allowing that to just manifest in, to whatever. So from all of that, I had an epiphany one day, and I was answering questions. Somebody wanted me to answer questions about how is it to be a stay-at-home mom and still work. And then I told myself, you know what, I'm going to answer these questions on my own YouTube. So I'll be starting a YouTube channel Monday. I mean, not Monday, but on the 8th, which is
of May.
May 8th.
Word. Congratulations.
Yeah, May 8th.
What's it called?
So that's what I'm gonna do. It's gonna be called Just Javonni.
Hey, proud of you. Proud of you.
Proud of you. Listen, I know, and I just feel like she really left out what's really important in this whole matter. Y'all see the close up with the Gucci scarf though.
Hey.
Real casual, real plush. That's a silk Gucci scarf she got on right now, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, on her head.
Not skip over that. Yes. This is not a regular lay out the crib fit. That's a silk Gucci scarf, maybe some Egyptian cotton.
Listen, right?
Yeah, Jesse's iced out, Ish with the fresh braids. We know that Trump, them stimulus checks, boy. People acting real brand new.
The stimmy.
Yeah,
I haven't got mine. So that I'm just being jealous. I haven't got mine at all. Trump was like, "Oh, that activist guy, yeah, let him wait. Let him wait it out."
Well, for one, I'm not trying to get anything shipped over to me because I don't want it to come with the coronavirus. So I'm not ordering nothing that's coming from another country until. Girl. But let me stop lying. I have been ordering a lot of stuff from Amazon. All
right.
They still didn't get here yet, but I'm gonna wash them first.
Yo, what was funny is Javonni was about to lie, and then her spiritual awakening was like, "Girl, we talked about this."
I was,
and immediately checked herself. But that's funny. Yo,
yeah.
All right, y'all. I have an unpopular opinion, y'all. Unpopular opinion.
Here we go.
Unpopular opinion. All right, this week my unpopular opinion is, right? Drum roll, no drum roll, whatever. Yo, I'm over social media. I'm done. I know we're on a social media platform right now, but I'm done with the TikTok. I'm done with the IG battles. I can't stand them. It's killing music to me. Like, yo, I'm here. Here's my thing. It's not just the videos of itself. It's that everybody's doing the same thing. Some of them are funny. Some of them are entertaining. But the majority of them are not. And it's just becoming redundant. I can't go on my feed without, and I know I sound like an elder statesman, like get off my lawn, you crazy kids. But I know it's on my.
Wait, TJ, say that again. I lost you. I don't know if anybody else heard him, but I lost him.
No, same here.
It was a little stutter, a little remix.
TJ.
TJ's out.
Somebody screenshot this.
Okay, so we're all in the same. We all see the same thing, right?
Everybody do this and then screenshot it. This is what we got on TJ right now.
Listen, You can't be on Facebook talking about how you hate social media and think Zuckerberg is gonna let that fly.
Facts. He's like, you out of here.
Yeah. He's like, no. We're not gonna allow this on our platform. We're not gonna allow it on our platform.
Okay. Does he know that his screen is frozen?
Probably not.
Nah, he's on tier 2 of a deep rant right now.
Giovanni, you the host now, so let's go. You know, until he get back on, Giovanni said Giovanni the host now.
Okay, so my popular opinion is just because you don't support a friend, actually, okay, this is all going to be edited at the end of the day, so we're gonna make sure TJ gets his unpopular opinion in. But my unpopular opinion is, you know, when people say people who don't support you are not your friends, or people who don't like get super excited when you do something, they are not your friends. My unpopular opinion is, I don't think that is true. I think that you can have people who don't know how to celebrate themselves, so they don't know how to celebrate other people. But I don't think that means that they are not your friend. I think that some people just really grew up differently. And you can't, you know, it's either you accept them for who they are and you find better friends who will celebrate you, or you just know what to expect and not necessarily tell them the things that you really want somebody to be excited about.
You know what though? I actually agree with that. And I've kind of felt like that for a while. But I think that a lot of times mostly is because I feel like a lot of people compartmentalize their friendships, right? Especially if you met someone prior to doing whatever your professional aspirations are, right? It's kind of like they already have you in this box of being a friend. So a lot of people don't really necessarily know how to go 100% being a cheerleader, and it's not that they want the worst for you, is just because that they're just compartmentalizing your friendship to it being more so one-on-one as opposed to any other aspect of maybe publicly sharing or being overly excited externally for you. I don't think that they mean any harm. It's just that they prefer you in the lane that they know you as a personal one-on-one relationship, which is, you know, it's like I said, I mean, I'm sure there's people that may secretly not want you to do well, but I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the people who really do want the best for you and they really love you and they're going to be there before they were there before your professional aspirations and they're going to be there after. And so essentially they just kind of want to make sure the relationship stays the same by any means necessary.
I get that. For me, it's more so like, if, for example, like I do like shows out here where I live. So for me, it's like, if you're my friend, I personally feel like if you're my friend, like you say, you should at least try to attempt to come to my shows. But if you're not gonna come, at least like say, how was your show? How did you do? Like, did you do a good job? Like, you know, like show that type of support. Not everybody is gonna like what you do. Not everybody's gonna support what you do, even if they are your friends. Like, you know, everybody has their, for example, people have their own religious beliefs, so they might not agree with everything that you do. But if they're your friend, they're still gonna support you in a sense. Like, there's still gonna be some things that they support just because they're your friends and because that's what you love to do. But I see what you guys are saying. But for me, it's like, if you're my friend, if you can't make it to my show or if you don't support what I do, at least ask me, how was it? How was your show? Did you do it?
I would, so kind of like touching on sort of what all of you have said in one way or another. For me, I would have to know your heart. Like, if I know it's genuine, where it's coming from, as far as you are happy for me, you do support me, but you're not like, oh girl, like we going out tonight. Like, I can accept a friend who isn't ecstatic on the outside, but at heart, I know they love me. I know they truly support me. They've shown that in different ways. It may not be the same as someone else. And so, so I would keep that person as a friend as long as I know that there's a true love and support and true love and support there. And they don't need like the extra dramatics or anything like that. But I do have friends like that, and it is fun with those type of people because I do be like, let's turn it up. I'm like a hyper celebratory person.
Same.
TJ, what about you? Like, say a person when we first started the Soapbox, and you're like, hey, I'm developing a team. You know, I'm gonna promote it on this day, and you expected some of your friends to promote it more. Maybe they tuned in, but they didn't promote it. How do you see that friend, and like how do you differentiate between how you treat them?
That's perfect. First of all, I just want to let everybody know what happened. I talked about not liking social media, and the social media gods snatched my soul, and literally my internet just went out. And you didn't see the panic in my face, and I was like,
That's what Alan said.
Karma is literally. I don't know who's listening, but they was like, "Oh, where you don't like the TikTok, don't you?"
TJ, I'm glad they got you first, because that was going to be actually one of the few things that I agree with you on. But you were
they snatched my soul.
Right. So never mind.
If there's one thing that Instagram promotion has told me, it's that Zuckerberg is always listening.
You bad mouthing social media? Okay.
Yeah, he is always listening.
Yo, the panic in my eye, I was hyperventilating my chest. Like, I was like, anyway, I just wanted to let everybody know what happened. That was the first, like, I don't know what that, seemed like y'all were having a good conversation. That was the first bit of Soapbox without me. Like, he was like, I was like, yo, what happened? Anyway, that's my anxiety level. But to answer your question, yeah, I talked about this a little bit on the last episode 42, which is we called it the draft day, Negro Hunger Games, where I talked about, when you're going to your next level, everybody can't come with you. When you are trying to accomplish something, yes, we're all doing the Soapbox, but the Soapbox is your baby. When you have your YouTube channel, that's going to be your baby. And just like you as a mother, nobody's going to care more about your child than you. You see what I'm saying? No, they may watch your child, they may love to bring it presents and hang out with it, but nobody's going to care about your stuff or your projects more than you. Whether, Alan, it's your music, just say it's your comedy, it's just your book, that's your baby. And so when you try to, there are a lot of people, I call them phantom supporters in the last episode, like they will watch you and support you behind the scenes. Yo, I see what you're doing with the Soapbox. Yo, that's real ill, man. Hey, support you, whatever. But when it comes to actually sharing your stuff, they're not going to share it. And that's just people. That's just people's nature, because they, people are very selfish-minded, and everybody would say, everybody wants to be on you when you're hot, when you're trending. I talked about Lil Nas X actually posted something on his social media, on his Twitter. He was like, yo, for anybody that wants to give up, I just want to show y'all this. And what he posted was his Instagram when he came out with that song, Old Town Road. He had about 2,400 people on his Instagram. That's it. That's all the people that was really supporting Lil Nas X. And then present day, over one song, it just happened that quick. He has over 6-point-something million people. You see what I'm saying? So like people want to support you when you're hot, when you're trendy. Like there's a lot of folks who I've expected or thought, wow, this person would support the Soapbox or share it or whatever, that never showed up to our live show, never supported the Soapbox, never gave it a subscription, a like, a nothing, but that's just people. But on the flip side of that, the people who I thought never would fuck with me on a personal level, whatever, they will be the ones sharing your stuff. And so you got to just find your audience, and eventually, sometimes people are intimidated by your gifts.
Exactly. Find your supporters. And that really quick, I just want to say, because I saw someone who was supported like substantially by many people, but they still wanted to talk about those who were not supporting them. And I think that's a slap in the face. If you're in your ego, it's a slap in the face to the people who are supporting you, and they are there and they are having your back. And then you post all the time, or too much of the time, about how no one is supporting you, and when you do reach a certain level, like you're going to remember this and that. But I'm like, well, what about the people who are literally there for you right now? Can we focus more on those people? Because they are present and they do have your back, and you have to be grateful and show gratitude for it to increase.
Yo, think about the people that used to be with us. Two folks in particular. One of their main gripes was they felt like they weren't being promoted enough. Like, you see what I'm saying? And one of the main things that I do with every one of y'all is what? Yo, we got to cross from day one, cross promotion. From day one, everybody got their own little mock-up. From day one, I'm like, yo, pushing everybody else forward. And you still get people still give you your ass to kiss. And it's just the nature of the beast. But when you believe in something and you ultimately believe in yourself, it don't matter. You don't need anyone's validation. Like, it's not a prerequisite that people fuck with you. Eventually,
what about on a deeper level? You kind of went somewhere else, TJ.
What do you mean? Like, no,
a little to me, but what we're saying is, what about the friend? Like, okay, your friends and your family. You know, when it gets to that point when you're like, my family, you ain't never support me, so I don't mess with them like that. And it's just like,
oh, do you like cut people? Oh, do you cut people off who you realize they're not supporting you?
Right, because the unpopular opinion was, just because a friend does not get super excited when you accomplish something doesn't mean that they are not your friend. When the popular opinion is, if a person doesn't support you, then they're not your friend. And I'm saying I don't think that is true.
You don't think what is true? You don't?
I don't think that just because a person doesn't express how super proud or post your stuff all the time, that doesn't make them a friend. And just because somebody may do it all the time, that makes them a friend.
No, I actually disagree. I think that if you have someone who's a friend and someone knows that you're passionate about something, they're gonna support. They're gonna support your stuff. They're gonna share your stuff. Like,
but what about people?
Like, even family. Like, my family.
My family don't share nothing of mine.
Okay, but so what would be the process if there was no social media?
What do you mean? What would be the process?
They would come to your shows.
Yeah, come out to
you. They would come to your shows. They would call you. They would support you. They would tell you what you're doing.
Is different. Support comes in different. Yeah, support comes in different ways. It's not necessarily social media driven. But if somebody is listening to your product and they have constructive criticism, that's support. When someone says, yo, I like what you're doing, or yo, I told somebody else about it, that's support. So support is not always, hey, social media, they shared your stuff. Support is, how are they helping you cultivate your craft?
But what about a person's character? Like, Alan, can you explain what you were saying?
I just think that a lot of people who know you and may know you before your aspirations compartmentalize the personal relationship. So they don't necessarily go into fan mode because they don't feel like that may be their place in you guys' dynamic. That doesn't mean that they are necessarily malicious in heart, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they don't support you. You know, it's just that a lot of times our visions and what we put so much stake in isn't necessarily transferred to our personal relationships as far as how much it may mean to us. And we can't necessarily fault anyone else for not carrying that burden as far as what we expect them to do. But in the end, they feel like they're being a good friend because they are who they always have been to you. And so they feel the best thing that they can do is continue to remain in that lane that you guys have always had. So, I mean, if you desire something a little bit different, that's something that may be communicated, but generally just me being a friend who has a lot of friends who does a lot of things, yes, of course I support them. I may not share every single thing that they do, but they know that if they need me, I'm there. And a lot of times people who are trying to get to that next level, they just need people around them to continue to be who they've always been, because that also provides some sort of sense of normalcy. And I guess I'm talking about a little bit more when they're getting a little bit more successful. But like I said, a lot of times I don't think it's malicious. It's just that people compartmentalize their relationships.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I think this is a good segue because it's all about how do you gain your victory? How do you win? And sometimes you win by people supporting you, and sometimes you win by just putting your head down and grinding and running your race. I did want to switch up and ask Alan, what do you think? Because I know you're musically, independent artist. What do you think about all these IG battles that have been going on? Are you a fan of them?
Yeah, I think that as of right now, what they're doing is great, as constructed. The first battle was a little bit more traditional because it was with Swiss and Tim. And Swiss has done battles before. He did battle with Just Blaze. All of them kind of come from the DJ culture. So it was kind of a perfect segue because they're having a DJ battle, a clashing, which is, traditional, but they're just playing their records. And that's great. I think they took it to another level when they started getting the songwriters involved. I thought that was great. I'm looking for people who don't necessarily get all the flowers that they should get behind the scenes in these battles. So like when I saw,
fantasy one?
I'm sorry?
Who would be your fantasy battle? Like if you could pick a battle between two artists.
It's tough for me because one, I'm not into artist battles. I'm into writer battles and producer battles. I don't really care about, I'm not really into rapper battles.
Producer battles?
Producer battles like Swiss Beats and Timbaland had a battle.
Oh, okay.
I think 3 6 Mafia and Bone Thugs are going to be doing something soon.
Ooh.
I don't want to watch that.
What?
That's not interested in me. That's not interested in me. The only battle that I want to see is Chris Brown and Beyonce. That's the only battle that I want to see.
What exactly? Singing or dancing?
No, to see who's go hit for hit. Because for so long, another unpopular opinion, people have been saying, yo, Beyonce is the greatest performer or whatever of our generation. If you look at Chris Brown's catalog and you match it against Beyonce's catalog, I think that would be interesting for people to see how many different hits Chris Brown has compared to Beyonce. He's right there. And as far as on stage, Chris Brown is one of the top 5 performers of all time.
But TJ, that's not. I'm gonna tell you why that's. I understand what you're saying, and that's being from an objective point of view. There's way too much. There will be way too much emotion in that clash for it to be.
He would never win
because you have to understand that there's still so much discontent for Chris Brown, and Beyonce is Jesus. So it just couldn't. Once you factor in all those emotions, it just really wouldn't. It could have happened the way that you would think it would happen.
But for the record, Chris Brown is the better dancer.
Well, yeah.
So
yeah, I don't think Beyonce wants to be a better dancer than Chris Brown though.
Yeah.
Like he's doing this and Beyonce is doing I'm a Savage. Classy, bougie, ratchet. Like they not, I don't even understand why, like they were, okay, we're not gonna get on it, but they was having the whole who could dance better, Beyonce or Sierra. It was just like Beyonce doesn't want to dance better than Sierra. That's not what she does.
Are you a part of the Beehive, Javonni?
I absolutely love Beyonce. I am part of the Beehive, but I am not up under all of her pictures and comments.
We are all the Beehive by default.
We all are the Beehive. We are a product of
I feel like I was
Beyonce.
I feel like I was knighted during like the Netflix special.
Ooh.
In the middle of it, I was like, oh, okay, I guess I stand now.
You felt your soul, right?
Yeah, it touched me. It touched me.
Yeah.
I was like, how could she do that? And
Yeah, I almost cried. I think I cried a couple of times.
I love her and her work, but I'm not a part of, I don't worship her like some people do, and I don't defend her in every single instance. For example, the Chris Brown thing, like TJ mentioned, performing and all of that head and head. And we all know, when it comes to performance, there's better performers, dancers. When it comes to acting, that's one of the things I'm very vocal about. She cannot act. They need to stop trying to make her a triple threat. But when it comes to singing and killing songs and doing remixes and performing, though, she still is one of the most phenomenal performers out there. She kills it all the time and gives it her all. But just win across the board, nobody wants to give anyone else any credit. That's ridiculous to me. She's not the best at every single thing, which she never said, and I'm pretty sure she doesn't think that either.
Ish, You said she can't act. Do you think Chris Brown can act, or are they like?
No, he's not that good. Either Bow Wow, Chris Brown. A lot of I don't like a lot of them. Tyrese, your boo, Javonni, he's really good. Like he transitioned really well. People like The Rock, they transition well. I think T.I. is in the middle.
What about Beyonce and Carmen?
And that's when she does the best.
Beyonce can't act.
She has to sing, like when she's a singer.
No.
Yeah, when she's a
that
singer.
Was my favorite.
Beyonce single-handedly
Or
killed
Dreamgirls.
The Lion King. She killed it.
I didn't watch that.
She did.
DJ trying to get his internet taken out again.
Animated.
Listen.
Whatever it's called nowadays.
Listen, guys, I just want to humbly apologize to the social media guys because once again, I don't know what's going on, but
I do.
Thank you, guys. Ooh, thank you, Lord. You
Don't say that ever again.
I don't know what, I'm real bold today because I'm going, here I am talking about Beyonce and I'm talking about social media, which is the two biggest entities. But I'm gonna continue to be me and keep swinging. I don't think Beyonce can act. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Obsessed with her and Idris Elba. It's a tough watch. You can't be perfect at everything. You can't be good at everything. And it's okay to not be good at everything.
Correct.
It's okay to just be like, yo, Beyonce's not that great. But I do want to, let's transition.
Hear you.
I'm sorry?
Don't let the beehive hear you.
I'm not worried about no damn beehive. I'm not worried about them. Like they do that. Like that's my biggest gripe about social media is that it's not based in logic. Like these arguments are never based in logic. Chris Brown or Beyonce, it's based on fandom. Like if you ever have someone who's a celebrity say something that's wrong, you know they're wrong, but because they have more Instagram or social media followers, they feel they live in a world where they're always right. Because as soon as they say something, they have thousands of likes. So they're like, oh, okay, I'm justified in my approach until they get dragged by the pitchforks and the torches and Black Twitter. So,
yeah, but I don't think Beyonce, she doesn't say much. I think she lets her work speak for her. That's her fans come up with all the other topics.
Right.
So what did y'all think about her new song with Meg Thee Stallion?
She killed that. Sorry. You said Jess.
Look at that. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Jess, okay. I was just talking about what do you think about Beyonce? Here come Ish. Oh, she killed that. It's a part of the beehive.
Give credit where credit is due.
I don't think it was that good.
Listen, Beyonce is good at what she does, so we're not gonna hate on her.
Who's hating? Look,
I never said we was hating. No. I never said we was hating.
Our first episode, one of our first episodes, I said that I didn't like her cover of the Frankie Beverly Maze song. What's the Before I Let Go? It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite.
She did it somewhere. I liked it. I actually liked it. I enjoyed that.
Beyonce is a above average. Oh, look at Alan. Alan took a step back like this dude is about to like a lightning bolt. A lightning bolt is about to strike. Listen, Beyonce, she was an above average artist during a subpar era of female performance. Aaliyah wasn't there. Beyonce was competing against the Ashantis and the Sierras. She was above that. Like look, she didn't have to go against a Selena or an Aaliyah. Like people had to move away. Similar to Jay-Z. Like Jay-Z, after the East Coast West Coast battle thing, there was just Jay-Z at that point. So he he went up the mantle. Look, after Nelly's Air Force Ones and all other stuff, Jay-Z went and snatched the mantle because it was just him, DMX, and Nelly.
It was Jay-Z has been in the middle of literally every single era within the last 20 years. So right after Big, you gotta understand Def Jam had that run. So technically, Hov didn't probably become the biggest rapper until like maybe 2003, 2004. The numbers say the first time he had like the highest selling rap album of the year was 2006. Because even after Big, he still had DMX outselling him. He still had Ja Rule outselling him. He had Eminem outselling him. He had Nelly outselling him. So you got to understand that the thing with Jay-Z is that even though he's been quote unquote outsold, he's always been in the conversation and he's always been the best quality wise. And that's why he is who he is, because he's gone through so many errors. And, you know, after we looking at the middle 90s, end of 90s, he was still competing in the 2000s. He's still competing with Kanye. He's still competing with 50. So the range of the amount of artists that he's competed with over the last 25 years and has still been neck and neck is incomparable to anybody else. And I think that that's also something that Beyonce kind of has with her as well, because she has, like you said, we're talking about her going against Aaliyah. We're talking about even Destiny's Child was the biggest group in the world at one point. So between that transition and then going through the early 2000s and the mid 2000s, and here we are 25 some years later, and she's teaming up with the biggest new hip hop female in the game. Once you have that type of longevity without a extreme drop in quality, you're next level.
But she's above average in several qualities when it comes to performing. She's like she's way above average, right? But when it comes to all these other things, like vocally, like Beyonce's not a better vocalist than Keisha Cole.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to sing some acapellas.
Than Keisha Cole?
Than a Keisha Cole or a Jennifer Hudson. She's not a better vocalist.
I don't think artists understand, like,
she's
there are so many different genres when it comes to music. Like, Beyonce doesn't want to sing like Jennifer Hudson. Like, Jennifer Hudson wants to sing like she's going to church. So I will compare her to Kiara Sheard. But I'm saying, like, I just don't even understand. People be saying, like, Beyonce doesn't deserve this amount of fame because she can't sing better than Jennifer Hudson.
No, I didn't. No, that's not my argument. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that. No, I'm saying that.
I think Beyonce's voice is phenomenal. Did you guys hear Dangerously
in Love?
Thank you. Wow. Okay. Thank you, Javonni, because we said that at the same time. Y'all are sleeping on Beyonce. Like,
first of all,
vocals are definitely up there.
Say no, y'all. Don't put me in this.
Yes.
Say my name. Beyonce was off the chisel.
TJ and Alan are in on this together. Tweet us at
no. I've listened to Beyonce acapellas and been like mesmerized.
No,
like just the way that her runs are. Her voice is immaculate.
Look, you can't. I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's okay, guys, to say, yo, Beyonce is good, but there's somebody better in that category than her. You see what I'm saying?
I just feel like we're being anti.
No, like LeBron is not the best. He doesn't have to be the best shooter. Steph is the best shooter. He's not the best passer. There's somebody else that can be the best passer. There's somebody else. But across the board, LeBron can do all of those things, which makes him legendary and great. Beyonce, she may not be number one in every category, but she across the board, she's top 3 in like 10 different categories, which makes her the greatest of all time. My problem is when you say, yo, she's not the best vocalist, people are like, oh no. It's like as if it's sacrilegious to say, and that's what that whole Beehive thing is. It's sacrilegious to say that Beyonce is not the best in every single category. It's not. It's constructive.
Y'all think Beyonce is the best?
Beyonce can sing, period.
She can't
sing. She's a top 5 greatest performers of all time. She can
sing, period. Whether she want to take you to church or she want to take you to the sex store, or if she wanted you, if she wants you to be in your feelings about a relationship,
did you hear? Okay, did y'all hear the topic that in that song with her and Meg Thee Stallion? Right, she talked about her getting an OnlyFans, which I've always thought that I think every woman should have an OnlyFans. That's what I think. Every girl. Not necessarily
Why?
that
Why?
it doesn't.
Why?
Look, it doesn't necessarily have to be sexual. But if you have an OnlyFans, you are basically giving people you're monetizing basically what you're already doing on your Instagram stories or whatever. So why not have all these thirsty niggas pay $25 a month to watch you cook eggs for breakfast? You just doing your regular life. Oh, well, there's some no, I'm saying monetize. My argument is every woman should be monetizing because there's a lot of dudes out here that's just they liking your stuff. You're not monetizing.
Everybody don't want to do dumb shit like that. Like, why don't we open that up to men? Like, why don't y'all go in there and cook some eggs and get paid? I'm sure there are men who like men on there as well.
Can y'all explain it? I don't know what that is. The OnlyFans.
I don't know what it is
either. OnlyFans? Okay, yeah, Alan, do you want to explain OnlyFans?
Essentially, it's just have you heard of a Patreon account?
Oh, what?
Patreon. Essentially, it's a subscription service.
Yeah.
And you can kind of put whatever content that you want out there. It's just that over the last year or two or so, sex workers have been making it theirs, essentially. So
it's like a social media site, but like people who really like act with you, like, they will pay to watch you. So what a lot of people are doing is like they're putting like, you know, sexualized stuff on there because they know that people will pay to watch that. And that's I'm not even gonna lie. I made
Beyonce wants to be on.
Oh, you have one? Jess, you got one?
I made one.
Just got
to post nothing on it yet.
What is it? It's $25.99.
I don't even know what I did as the price. Like I haven't touched it since I made one. I don't know.
So put it like this. I guess the easiest way for me to break it down is a paid subscription Instagram with an option for nudity.
Yep.
It's uncensored.
Right.
It's uncensored.
Okay.
So you can post whatever you want in there.
So my thing is, if there's a guy who's always in your DMs, who's always liking your stuff or whatever on Instagram or Facebook, if he's gonna do that and you leave and you put exclusive content on your OnlyFans, you gonna get this super simps $25 every month. Why not?
Yeah, it's more like the women who say like, well, I was gonna sleep with him anyway, so I might as well get paid for it.
Well,
yes.
So only the people who you subscribe to, you can see their stuff.
Exactly. There's actually there's not even previews on OnlyFans. You can't even see what's.
Oh, that's good.
You can't even see what's on the other side unless you pay that $8.99. Or mind you, you can create your own price as well.
Yep. So literally, okay. So put it this way: you can have OnlyFans, and you could be doing your book readings, where you're just doing exclusive book readings. Each chapter, you're reading a book, and people can you could have a discussion with the people that's doing your OnlyFans.
Right.
But it's really for the strippers, though.
But
right.
It's really
that's what it boils down to. Like, if you're actually using it to market yourself in a way that you normally would, hey, come out to my book reading, like, and they're going to pay me for that, then on that hand, it's smart. But if you're asking women to continually show their bodies, for me, that shit ain't for me not to get naked every day or nude or whatever halfway. Okay, I might do it one day, one blue moon, I get drunk, I might do it, but outside of that, it's not for me. Now, if you're gonna do it anyway, yeah, I think it is smart. If you're gonna do it anyway, like the Instagram models or whoever else, then why not get paid? But it does sound much like the women who say, well, I'm gonna sleep with them anyway, why not get paid? And we know that's called a prostitute.
I don't knock the naked. I don't knock the naked hustle because I think prostitution comes in different forms. I'm gonna be honest with you. Most of dating has become transactional, has it not? You don't really want to feed this girl. You don't really want to, like, you don't want to. You're taking out all these dates.
You don't really want to.
It hasn't.
No, I'm telling y'all. This is why I'm here, because dudes is out here lying. They don't really want to take.
That's what I don't understand. Why do men waste? Why are people wasting their time? If you're not genuinely into a person, you're interested and want to be there, the fuck? Why don't you literally just go to some prostitution site and just pay for sex?
No, because women require us to. Women require
jail. That's why.
Jail, and women require us to. Yo, you think if a dude walked up to you, was like, yo, hey, how you doing? And you're like, he's like, what's your name? And you like, oh, my name is, he's like, no, fuck that. I only just want to fuck. So so can we do this or what?
I'm with men being straightforward, just not using that.
But you would say no.
Verbiage. You don't know what I would say because I'm very straightforward.
Dating is not about, listen, if you're attracted to him, but listen, dating is not about that, especially those first 2 months. It's not about honesty. Nobody's telling the truth.
That's crazy. What are you dating for? Again,
it's the truth.
If it's just about sex, why are you even finding women out in public areas as like bars or whatever? Why don't you literally just cut all of that out and go find the ones who are getting paid to do it just like that?
No, because then you seem like you're a scumbag. But it's better for me to give you some appetizers and give you a drink, and then for us to hook up that way. And so that it's more justifiable. I'm telling you the truth. It's more justifiable for us. If you're gonna have a one night stand, it's like, oh, he took me out. It's not like that $40. It
makes you feel better about being a scumbag.
Everybody's being, no, not just the men. It's the women as well.
I said whore.
There are some women that'll be like, yo, I don't really like this nigga. I mean, he's cute, but I don't really like him like that. We're not gonna be in no relationship. He could have saved that $40. They could have did something with it.
Okay, well, I take my whore comment back because women are free to do whatever they want with their bodies. Like, I don't want to make it seem like you're choosing to have sex with men because I know people gonna come for me. And I
call them a whore. It's okay.
I actually really don't care. Like, I really don't care what men or women do with their own bodies. But I will say, you guys are wasting your time. To me, that's a waste of time. I will straight up tell a dude, like, hey, I'm here for this. I have literally said I have begun to objectify your body. You with that or not? Like, I'm very straightforward, and I would prefer, I actually would prefer for the dude to not be rude about it, but say what you're here for. I want to know what you want. Like, let's cut the chase. If it's not going to turn out to be anything, we're going to find out anyway. It's just a waste of life and time to me to pretend and fake.
But that's what dating is. It's the illusion. Dating is everybody's a master illusionist. Like, that's rare. I wish everybody was that honest, but in all actuality, it's an illusion. Look, we live in a capitalistic society. Everybody's buying and selling everything. Hold on. Everybody's buying and selling something. They're selling you a dream, especially when it comes to dating. You're buying into somebody's bullshit. They're lying. Everybody's lying. They're buying and selling. It's not till down the road until you unveil the mask that you really get to know who these are. Why do you think divorce rates are going to skyrocket after the damn pandemic?
Because the sex is bad.
Thank you. Exactly. And nobody wanted to tell the truth. There are so many people that are in marriages, in relationships or whatever, that are just like, and plus people date proximity. They're going to date based on Corey Holcomb, one of my comedians who influenced me, say you basically what you have in your bank account is your proximity to the women that you date. If he's broke.
So what about the rich niggas who date girls who, never had anything and don't have money?
They give them $40. Give them 40. They fly them out and they give them $40 and they're done. Bim, bam, boom. It's the truth. I know y'all don't want to hear this. I know the folks who's listening don't want to hear. Hold, did I freeze again, or is that just Javonni?
No, we hear you. We hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Jess is like, yeah, we hear your bullshit. We hear that. No. But I'm being real with y'all. Y'all may not want to hear this, but it's like, yo, your self-worth is tied to your net worth when it comes to dating. And that's why it's not right, but everybody's become a property appraiser. There is a double standard.
The world needs so much healing. I just think it literally bewilders me that there are so many liars still in the world. And I know that I'm particularly really honest, like more than other people. I'm aware of that, but just
I'm honest too.
To kind of unanimously say that that's just how it goes. That's crazy. Like there has to be someone else on the honesty team.
Listen,
it can't be an illusion that everyone's putting forth.
I'm talking about, the majority. I'm out here in these Jumanji streets. Okay, everybody's not rolling at 8 and getting out of this game. It is bells and whistles. It's an illusion. People aren't really telling the truth. You see, everybody, social media uses social media to stunt, making themselves seem a lot
that's
more
true.
than what they are. It's the truth. If you look on Tinder, you're meeting people. People are giving you the first 2 to 3 months. You're dating someone's persona. You're not dating them. You see what I'm saying? No, you're not dating. You're not dating. You know, the ashy me who's just like,
I know that it happens. I know that it happens. I'm just always surprised about how often and how many people take to that train of thought. There's usually never anyone else like who's on my side. Like, no, I'll tell him straight up, like, nigga, what, like, let's, and it sounds crazy, like, and people, usually I'm judged for this, like, but I grew up with boys. I don't know if that's part of the reason, but yeah, I
that's
like
part
to
of it.
to the point. Like, we don't have time to waste. It's really, ultimately, really is a waste of your life that you're spending with someone, and you're using this time to pretend and be fake and be something you're not. That's a waste. Essentially, to get something that you can pay for.
Yo, I went. All right, I'm gonna tell y'all a story. I was a substitute teacher. One of the teacher, I was dating this teacher, right? And I was like, yo, I'm gonna take you on this date, you know, yada yada yada. We were gonna go to a comedy show or whatever, and then afterwards we're gonna grab some drinks, chilling, right? I actually like this person. Picked her up, everything looked good. Everything looked good. She lived with her sister or whatever. And so as we're driving to the place, she was like, yo, you know, no one's home right now. I was like, oh, word? I was like, yeah. She was like, yeah. I was like, so what you trying to say? She was like, we could just grab food and go back to the crib. And I was like, all right, cool. So here I was thinking, I got to put on this date, you know, put my best foot forward. But she was like, nah, just go get the Hennessy and go get these wings, and we can just go back to the crib. It works. Sometimes it works, but you can't. But women get offended if you're like, yo, this is what, like that whole Netflix and chill stigma. If you're like, nah, I just really want to just kick it with you at your crib and just let's talk and vibe, and then if we have sex, we have sex.
I think that because the lie is probably presented, like if you're starting with I like you or I want you or I'm interested, and then it's like, oh, but for real, that was a lie. Like I'm just trying to, you know, fuck or whatever. Then yeah, that's gonna upset someone. That's why I say just start with the truth. But I understand men can't always go that route. I know men who do. I go that route, but I also have real relationships. Like I will say I like you. You don't have to like trick me out of my panties if I like you. But I also attract men who will treat me well if I like them and they like me. Like there's no trickery. To me, it's really not that serious. Like men are gonna treat you like they don't be like, oh, you know, you let me do whatever, like within the first month of knowing you or whatever it might be, if they actually are interested in me for real. Like no one's with the illusions, as you put it. We all are honest and we treat each other well.
Listen, if women knew, right? Like it works both ways. If women knew that there are dudes that don't really care about your name, there are dudes that probably don't even put your real name in their phone. That's the truth. It works both ways. There are women that only are interested in dating. We live in a superficial society. There are women that are only interested in dating guys who have or come off with a certain amount of wealth. And most times, I'm telling you, here's something that people don't know. Most times niggas be homeless, yo. All that whole flashy, yo. I'm gonna say Alan knows to tell the truth. Yo, all that whole flashy, yo, I got all these bands, whatever. Niggas be straight fucking homeless and showing out, and women be falling for it. Girls be homeless.
Say something on a side note.
Girls be homeless too. Go ahead,
I've
Jess.
never dated a guy because of the money that he has. But you may proceed.
just clearing my name.
Just clearing your name. That's cool.
For real, I don't know.
I've been in a relationship longer because I needed a place to stay. I'm not even gonna lie. We should have broke up 4 months ago.
Did you tell her that? Did you tell her that?
No.
If you didn't tell her that, then you were being dishonest. But
yes.
If you did tell her that, then that's good. If you told her that and she accepted you for you, then that's great. Then y'all are compatible. But
you know how cold it is
outside? You lied
outside?
about that, and then she's like, "Nigga, what the fuck? You have money?"
No, but it wasn't.
On her.
No, but it wasn't a lie. It was like, yo, our relationship was fizzling out, but you put up with the BS because it's like, nah, I ain't got my, I ain't got my, I ain't got my, I don't have the resources to get myself on my feet yet. No, women do it all the time. Women say,
no, I
yo,
was
I'm
just gonna say, I've actually been in a relationship where I knew it was over, but I told the dude, I was like, hey, I graduated in May, I'm moving back to Florida in June, and I won't be here. But that was like way prior to those dates, and I stayed with him.
I
And
had a
all
girl
he tried
date
to
me
do
because she had no place to stay.
Honesty is the best policy.
It is, but I'm trying to let you know, I'm trying to unveil the mask, and that's why I'm here to tell y'all the truth that most niggas not gonna let you know. Dudes is
then
out
they're
here,
fake.
right?
They're fake.
Yes.
That's what it is, and they're fake.
That's exactly
what
what
me personally, I cannot mess around with somebody who's fake. If I fall for you for being who you are, then that's good. But if you're
that's because you're a hopeless romantic, and people.
I am a hopeless romantic, and I admit that. But if you're lying to me about being who you are, and then I find out, that's not on me. That's on you for lying.
No, you think people straight out lie? It's called an adjustment. All right. If you ask me,
TJ, let's not.
It's the truth. No, I know it's upsetting. It's the truth. It's the truth. I'm telling you, I'm not saying that I do these things, but I know niggas that do these things. It's the truth. Like, it's all right. If someone says, like, if you're dating a guy, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like, you're like, yo, so you stay by yourself? And he'd be like, yeah, I stay by myself. And he really don't. That's an adjustment. He probably stay with his homeboys, but his homeboy, he ain't gotta, pay rent or do nothing like that. He's staying with his homeboy. Or if he don't it'd be like, yo, you got a car? Yeah, I got a car. It may not be his car, but he got a car to pick you up.
I don't like that. So for me, you gotta be transparent. If it's not your car, tell me it's not your car. If it's not your crib, tell me it's not your crib. Because then I have these false expectations or these false visions about you, you're lying. It's not your own spot. Don't lie to me and tell me that it is. It's not your car because it's under your boy's name. So don't tell me that it is. Now, if you're honest about it and you're like, oh, I'm staying at so-and-so's crib, or this is not really my car, I drive it, but it's under so-and-so's name, then at least I will respect that more. And if I choose to stay with you, then that defines who I am as a person. But if you're lying, then nigga, that defines who you are as a person, and I can't respect that.
Yeah, everything you just said is 100% true. And people it's about giving people a choice, right? And people will take their choice, and that's what makes you feel at the end of it like, damn, you revealed your true self to me, and it's like, yo, you really put me up on game. But because they took your choice away, that's wrong. But in the grand scheme of things, everybody has their persona. People have their personas for the majority of the time when they're dating, especially in the beginning months, right? And then if they know that you're a hopeless romantic, they gonna paint the picture for you.
Let me tell you something, TJ. I'm a hopeless romantic, but you cannot fool me. You cannot fool me.
Everybody's fooled. I've been fooled. Unless the best have been fooled. Like Seinfeld, everybody's been fooled. Everybody.
Nah.
No. Go ahead. Who's go ahead.
It is some guys out there who are as I like to describe them. And I know some women who prefer to date guys that they can take advantage over.
Simps, yes. Simps are good for the ecosystem. They're the ones that they're like the ones that eat the weeds and stuff. Like they're good for the ecosystem. They're doing all the grunt work. But a lot of times the guys who are telling y'all the truth, I'm gonna be honest with it, are the ones that are in your DMs that you're not attracted to, you don't like. Yeah,
that's true.
And the ones you're attracted to, the ones who are attractive or looks like they got, the suave or the players or whatever that, they got this stuff. Y'all notice Alan's been quiet. I'm messing with y'all. Yo, all right, let's move on because we can talk about that all day. Did y'all see real quick? Let's move on to, did y'all see Wale's video? What did y'all think about Wale's video, Sumi?
I saw it. I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was a great video. I thought it was one of those timestamp videos. So like in 5 or 7 years, we can look at that video and be like, oh, this is what was happening from the Starbucks incident to the clip. I'm glad that they added the clip of the brother in, I believe he was actually in jail dealing with the coronavirus. So I really like pieces that reflect the time that we're in now. So 5 to 7 years from now, we can actually go back and revisit it and kind of relive these moments. That's probably one of the best records on the album. So I didn't really know how he could have pulled it off to make the video elevate the record, but I thought he did a real good job. Shout out to Curbito. He runs Pyre Moss. He's a black-owned designer with a black-owned brand. But he also works for Reebok as well. He's the person who directed the video. He's a super, super dope creator. So shout out to him. Curbito is his name on Instagram. So yeah, I loved it.
Thank you. I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I like Wale. I think his work is dope. I think his lyrics are always great. Like he's an amazing artist. I think he's shown that for some years now, as far as like the quality of his work and the intellect that he has. The only issue is I watched him on the Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett and the others, Gammy and Willow. And he just like, he talked about having issues, like being super emotional, having issues with trusting women. And I'm like, how are you this great? You put out all this great music. It heals us. I mean, well, I'm answering my own question actually, because he's been there, done it. But it's just like, it seems like his mind and his body are together. But on that interview, it seems like he's all over the place, like as like an actual person.
Yeah, I mean, well, that happens a lot of times with artists. But especially with like him, I think that, and I could be wrong, but I think I've heard him say that he's had like issues in the past with just like behavioral, like ADHD issues. You know what I'm saying? So just kind of like just being active. But a lot of times the great artists are kind of like that, just because their mind is moving in so many directions at once. So that's why they have the art, because the art will allow them to funnel all of these emotions and all of these thoughts into one outlet. But on a regular day-to-day basis, it's kind of hard for them to channel that if they're just having a conversation, because it's like, 1 minute their mind's going this way, but it's like they're internally having a conversation with themselves. So it kind of tends to clash. And I'm only speaking from experience because I kind of do that at times as well. So yeah, it definitely, it does make sense. Like with someone who is so meticulous and concise with his product, on a day-to-day basis is kind of a little bit all over the place. So I definitely get what you're saying.
That's crazy though, because here's the thing, like in his music, he's from DC, right? And I lived there. So I used to be like, oh, I'm gonna meet Wale one day. Like, oh, I love his work. He's so great, this and that, like a fan, because his music is so amazing to me. And the lyrics, like I said, are quality, they're dope, they're thought out. It's actual, like still storytelling, real experiences, things that change the way we view the world today. So I'm like, oh yeah, I love him. And then I heard him, I was just like, oh my gosh, I would never want to have to deal with him personally. Like this nigga could never be my boyfriend, because I would just I feel like we would have so many issues as far as like the emotion and all over the place, and just like just buzzing out or whatever here and there. And I was just like, it was such a huge difference in what I thought I knew of him versus like who he really is. And I was just like, that's crazy. Because the artist, I'm like, oh, I'll give it that. Obviously he ain't checking for me, so I'm not saying that. But those were my thoughts. Like, oh, I'll get with Wale because he seems like a pretty thought out, well-rounded guy. And then I saw him, it was just like, nah, that would be a headache.
I saw a quote from, I heard a quote from Fonte. He's one of my favorite rappers. He said that a lot of times that artist's art is literally the best part of them, and everything else is like, it's fucked up, and it may not be intentionally. It's just because, like I said, you can put that energy to your artwork, but a lot of times that's the best that they have to offer as a person. So, and I've always felt like this: celebs are to be consumed by their art, not by what happens. Unless they're like extremely shitty people, but that's how they're supposed to be consumed, as artists and not as humans for the most part, because you can get really disappointed.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. And it just was a shocker to see the huge juxtaposition, so to say. Like, that was crazy.
Yo, I'm starting to realize how difficult this is from y'all end, because when I jump back in, because the social media guys are still messing with me. So by snatching me out of the broadcast, but it's like playing double dutch. So it's giving me a glimpse into what y'all deal with when it comes to commenting and conversations, because y'all talking and I'm just like doing the double dutch thing. Like, when do I jump in and just kind of, keep it going? Anyway, so you talking about Wale's thing. I think Wale is probably one of the best. We don't give Wale enough credit for the storyteller that he is. I think Wale is really a spoken word artist, but he just has to have an instrumental behind his beats. So that's how I look for him. But I don't know. I like his Ambition album was the best. The video of itself was a glimpse into what I call was Black supremacy. We live in a system of white supremacy, and so it's like, hey, putting us on the other foot. What happened if we were the ones that were on top, subjugating them? I know white folks couldn't handle that, because you got white women on social media talking about calling a white girl Karen or Becky is a racial slur. Like they're oppressed. Literally, we've had this lockdown for like 6 weeks, and white folks is out here feeling oppressed, talking about, I need a haircut. They can't handle black folk oppression. They can't deal with that. So it was cool. It was definitely a cool concept. Probably the coolest video that I've seen since This Is America from Childish Gambino. So I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I like when they actually give meaning. I actually have to go back and listen to it, because I was looking at all the Easter eggs, how they had melanin oats in the video, and they had some of the other Easter eggs. They had a whole bunch of other Easter eggs in it. So, but it was good. I think I agree with y'all when it comes to the actual artistry, because white fragility is something else. Like, they cannot handle any sort of heat or pressure. They couldn't handle it. One day of being black. That's what all that Tiger King stuff, like, that's what Donald Trump said before. He was like, look, you can manipulate some of these folks. And I think Lyndon B. Johnson says, as long as you make the poorest white man feel like he's better than a black man, he'll and I'm paraphrasing, he'll be loyal to you for life. That's all they care about. They need white folks need somebody to subjugate, whether it's animals, whether it's people who subscribe to the religion of white supremacy, whether it's animals or whether it's people. They need to be subjugated. They need to dominate something. And so when they're not in a position of power, regardless of their economic or social status, then that's when you have these barbecue Beckies and calling cops on kids because they selling lemonade and stuff, because in their world they have to express that power, because I'm white and I say so. I'm white and I'm right. And so I think concept videos like that were real dope.
TJ, I'm seeing you on 2 screens. Do you see this?
No, I don't. I don't know what's going on with social media right now, because it's just it. But on this broadcast, it's straight. It is what it is at this point. Yo, Ish. So let's talk about, and this is where really as we get into the nitty gritty of this episode, as we wind down, the story about Joe Biden, right? So
right.
Diddy, real quick, before Diddy said, hey, this year, this election, black folks aren't just giving the vote. We're no longer just giving the vote to free for, with the Democrats. And I tend to agree with it, right? And I think that there's a lot of people, whether it's been Tariq Nasheed, a lot of these socially conscious folks that's that are talking, that talk about social political consciousness, whatever, have been talking about the black vote. Malcolm X has talked about it years past, about making sure that we harness our vote as a block and really have an agenda and having an asking price, right? So my question to y'all before we jump into Joe Biden is, do you feel like politicians should have specific agendas for racial demographics? I'll throw it to you first, Ish.
I think that they should have a human agenda, like just do what's right for the people. However, they can't because they have to get certain groups, like to your point of us coming together and using our vote as Black people, using it as one, so to say. I think that politicians and anyone else is aware of that, like specific demographics influence the other, like within the group. So I think they're doing their jobs when they are catering to different demographics, different races, because that's just how trends show what you have to do. But again, I'm catered to the people, like what's best for everyone. And I don't even know if like we figured out a way to do that, like what's best for the human race. Because we're also split.
Yeah, well, I don't believe in. To me, I used to subscribe to that, like this whole idea of intersectionality, where it's like, hey, what you do for Black folks, you can do for Asian Americans, for Hispanic Americans. We're all in this together, like this big utopia. However, whenever that concept comes into it, what's never intersectional is the economic, the economics of it all. Like Black folks are always given the low, they're at the lowest end of the totem pole when it comes to resources, tangible resources. So, you know, a lot of folks, especially within the civil rights movement, whether it's, you know, white women, whether it's, you know, Latinos, everyone has taken the blueprint from Black folks in order to get their civil rights, in order to get their resources. But then when it comes to us getting our resources, and we're always the one that's supporting these other groups, right? So, but when it comes to our resources, we're told, oh, reparations is not feasible. We can't do this. We can't do that. Oh, we're going to do the research. We're going to get into these different focus groups. We'll have these town halls. We get the song and dance of it all, of what politicians can't do. But these other groups, they out there getting their stuff done and getting their agendas passed, whether it's Latinos, whether it's LGBTQ. So, you know, it's been one of those things that I believe that they should have. We should have an agenda. A specific agenda. What do you think, Alan? Because it's going on now.
I think that you know the quote, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate, right?
Yeah.
I think that on a human level, like Ish was saying, I think probably Obama was the best person to kind of push that equal line as far as just having an agenda for Americans as a whole, right?
Yeah.
But we have to understand that as a Black community, we are not on the same playing field just because of historically the things that have happened. So yes, if you give everyone the same playing field and you elevate them 10 levels up, the Black community is still going to be 7 levels down because we didn't start at the same level. We started 7 levels down. You see what I'm saying? So I can understand where that would be a good base for a president. And, you know, like we said, Obama, just as an overall president, he did a very good job. But, you know, still the disparities continue because they were there before he got in office. I think that the Black community has to, we have to be more focused with a plan, right? Because I do feel like Diddy said, our vote shouldn't be free. But I think that a lot of times we kind of lack what we are asking for. I heard Angela Rye say something very interesting. She said, listen, you know, it was during the primaries. A lot of times people kill their optimism and they kill their plan with the person who doesn't win in the primary. So if you are an Andrew Yang fan or if you are Elizabeth Warren fan, they feel that the reasons why they were fans of those people, you can still demand that from Joe Biden.
Yeah.
That doesn't have to go by the wayside because your candidate isn't there anymore. And I think we associate and put too much faith in the politician as opposed to the plan. So you could take the politician away, I feel like, and still say, okay, that's fine. I don't have Andrew Yang, but I believe in his UBI. So let's get enough people to organize this UBI union. And now we're just going to go to Joe Biden with our plan. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, I just feel like we have to be more conscious in our power and having a plan and having a faith in the plan as opposed to the politicians, and we can get a lot more done.
Well, I think that's the thing is that in politics, I always liken politics to WWE because I talk about, you know, the theatrics of it all. It's pretty much theater because all these politicians, they're all friends. I don't care what they say on TV about their persona, but behind the scenes, you know, they're all friends. And one of the toughest things about and I also like in two comps I put, it's like wrestling and it's like dating, right? And so I know we talked about it earlier, but politicians, every politician's job is to tell you how much they love you. You see what I'm saying? It's I'm telling you how much if everybody's saying the same thing, it's hard to differentiate. Every Republican, every Democrat, it's hard to differentiate between who's telling me the truth in all of this, right?
Kind of like going out on those dates, huh?
Exactly. That's what campaigning is. Campaigning is speed dating. That's exactly right. Campaigning is nothing but speed dating. It's somebody in your face telling you all the great things that they're going to do for you, that's going to affect your life, that's going to enhance your life. And you're like, wow, this person's great. And then you give them their vote, i.e. you sleep with them. And then after you're like, yo, so what happened with all the great stuff you was going to give me? And then like, yeah, fuck all that. I'm out of here. That's politics. That's literally what politics. So us as people, that's why they say you got to be an educated voter. That's why on dates you got to ask, how did you grow up? Because when you start asking those inquisitive questions, then you start to get to know someone's character and you start seeing some patterns, and then you'll be like, oh, and you start looking at their voting record, you start looking at their past dating life and their dating history. Then you're starting to say, oh, okay, you run a lot of game, so I'm not going to vote for you, or I'm not going to engage with you long in a relationship because I know you're running game on me. But it was swell. Thank you for the bumper sticker. Thank you for the Applebee's 2 for $10. I'm good. That's really what politics is. So, but will Joe Biden even get there? Because I know you have that story. What's going on with Joe Biden and these allegations?
Yes, Joe Biden is being accused of sexual assault by a woman named Tara Reid. She's saying, well, there's one report that says that she said he touched her on her neck and her shoulder that made her feel uncomfortable. And then this was back in the 90s, 1993. And then when she worked a part of his staff. Okay, so that was the first incident that she reported. Then she came out and there was another report saying that she said he forcibly penetrated her with his fingers one day when they were together on that, wherever the site was that they worked. There's stories saying that there's not a specific location that she can name. So wherever they worked, somewhere within that vicinity, he forcibly penetrated her with, allegedly, let me throw that in. Allegedly, he forcibly penetrated her with his fingers. So actually tomorrow he's he's expected to address these allegations when he appears on MSNBC's Morning Joe. So we'll hear more from him. He's been quiet so far, and some people are obviously going to be looking to see if he's going to address what she's saying. One other thing. Oh, all right. So what do you guys think? Do you think he's guilty or innocent? And then my other question is, do you think he will make it to the end of the presidential race now that this has surfaced?
Well, go ahead. You're going to ask a question at the end?
I'll go first real quick. So I read some of the articles, and there's people who are debunking her statement and basically saying that she's not believable at this point. That's sexual assault is one of the things that I personally believe should be investigated individually. You can't say it'll be a he say, she say thing, as far as like what's in the public forever. You really don't know. The other thing is I'm such an honest person, which we've established earlier on the podcast, that I really don't, I know women lie about this type of stuff, but it's really hard for me to believe like when I read certain information that the woman is lying. And when I read what she said, some think it's a lie, but for me, I actually feel like it's believable. And a lot of people say, well, why do you wait so long? I know people who never say anything, so that's not justifiable to me as to why. I mean, as to whether or not something is true or false. Like, I don't even know why that argument is still being put out to kind of negate someone saying that they were sexually assaulted. And as far as him making it to the end of the presidential race, I think he will get there, because I think people are gonna make this story so that they kind of like shut her up in a sense. We'll see how that goes, but I think he's going to be well prepared tomorrow if he does address this issue, and it's going to kind of put doubt in people's mind where we don't even pay attention to it too much or take it serious, like, out of sight, out of mind. I think it's going to become one of those stories. As far as whether or not he's guilty or not, we can't say that. I do think it's unfair to, give a man or any person a conviction or a judgment or a verdict without actually doing your due diligence and investigating the case. So I don't know, because I wasn't there, obviously, and I don't think it's fair for us to blindly just accept what someone is saying just because we know that people can lie. But I feel like, in my mind, why would she? However, again, I think that they should definitely run their due diligence throughout the court system to really, find out what happened. And even then, we still may not find out, because people make this type of stuff go away. I hope it's not true, but if it is, my sympathy to her and all the women who experience this type of stuff, because it really is unfortunate, but we have to make sure we are telling the truth to keep the credibility of what we're trying to do intact.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, and that's important, because these are real stories. These things do happen. But I've never believed in the idea of, believe every woman. It's not realistic, and it's not something that I'm trying to be malicious about. But you gotta understand, there are people that are human. We talked about this in dating, and we talked about this earlier within our conversations. There are people, as genuine as you try to be, there are people that are out here that will lie. There are people that are out there that will lose. We saw Brian Banks. He's a football player who's going to go to be a star recruit. A woman said that she raped him. Excuse me. A woman said that she was raped by him, and then years later found he had to be exonerated. Look at the Central Park Five. Same type of situation. So there are cases where men are falsely accused, but there are cases where men are being creepers and are actually doing these things. In this particular case, Tara Reid, her mother, right, called in on the Larry King live show. There's a clip on that's circulating around social media, and she goes on Larry King Live's show telling people, hey, my daughter was sexually assaulted by someone who was a senator, yada, 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 basically giving details about what happened. This was in like the 90s. And so, but nobody knew it was Joe Biden, So I don't really care. I mean, I wouldn't say care. When people say, oh, the timing, if you want to speak your truth, speak your truth. But I think everyone should be afforded an opportunity to clear their name or to have their due diligence or due process, because simply having the allegation of sexual assault is damage to one's credibility unless you are a head of a white male patriarchy. Our president has been accused of sexual assault. He's still our president. But what hurts, and this is why we call this episode Victory, because there's a song with Diddy, Busta Rhymes, and Notorious B.I.G. And at the end of everything, he says, "What we gonna do now, huh? It's all fucked up now," and it's true. This Democratic primary is all fucked up because the pathway to his victory of Joe Biden, Democrats want to play the moral police, right? Their whole game with Trump is how morality, they're superior to Trump, right? So now these allegations have chipped away. You can't bring up Trump's sexual assault cases without bringing up Biden's sexual assault cases. You can't bring up the Russia collusion. Like, the morality the lines are now blurred, right? And so people think that they're not going to the polls in record numbers voting for Trump. And a lot of the stuff that's going on with this pandemic is deterring people from going out in record numbers to go vote. People are like, yo, I don't like the way these politicians have been treating this situation with these pandemics, with the governors and all these other races. You know what? It's not worth my time to go vote. That works in favor of the Republican Party, specifically Donald Trump. So he's trying to make history by being the first ever impeached president to win re-election. Then what is everybody going to do? Because you can't stop him then with all these Supreme Court justices that are going to be appointed during his potentially during his second term. So it's really all messed up. And there's even rumor that Democrats are trying to get Joe Biden to drop out of the race for the Democratic primary. So if that happens, it's definitely going to be a victory for him, because Joe Biden's not the best candidate to knock Trump off of his throne, to beat Trump. But he's there. And if you continue to have not Joe Biden, but an alternate, because the guy everybody chose to win all these delegate votes, he's the one that's getting accused of sexual assault. It's never going to work. So the pathway to victory is definitely messed up. Alan, you had something to add? Anybody else had something to add on that?
Not with the amount of time that we have left.
Gotcha. Yeah. So one of my final things that I wanted to say on this issue is it's funny. It's kind of funny and ironic how the Me Too movement is addressing stuff with Joe Biden, because before it was believe all women, believe all women, believe all women, and Joe Biden was, and these women deserve justice, and that was their rallying cry. But now that most of these liberals, Joe Biden is their guy and they want to defeat Trump, now they're kind of changing their tune. So it's something that we need, as the election process goes on, we need to kind of watch out and look out for, as far as how people are handling specifically Joe Biden. So with that said, let's go around the horn. Let's do it. Moral of the story. Let's start with Just Say. Just Say, moral of the story.
Moral of the story, totally off topic, Joe Biden. If you're gonna show off your body, might as well create an only talent get paid for it.
That's what's up. Yo, Javonni, I was gonna say Javonni OnlyFans. Goddamn. Javonni. That was a Freudian slip. Javonni, moral of the story. Look at me. Oh. Anyway, excuse my Freudian slip and my thirst. Javonni in the Gucci scarf. Go ahead. Moral of the story.
Funny. Moral of the story is I wasn't ready. Oh my gosh.
Ish, you got it?
Yeah, let Ish go.
Ish, go ahead. Moral of the story.
My moral of the story for today is very simple. Stay happy, stay healthy.
Word. Alan, moral of the story.
Man, the moral of the story is I'm just happy to be here. Ish with the fly braids. We got Just A with the Mr. T gold on. We got Javonni with the Gucci scarf, and the skin is looking mad clear because of the for the month cleanse. So I'm inspired. I'm about to get an apricot scrub or something like that. Mr. Zuckerberg, please spare my man TJ next time. More of the story is let's keep up with the ladies. Let's protect the ladies. We're probably gonna get more into that next week when we get into a further, deeper conversation about Biden. And there's some other topics. There's been some popular party hosts and some people within the scene up here that's recently been accused of sexual misconduct. So more of the story is protect the ladies. We'll see y'all next week with the follow-up.
That's okay. A good tease, because I don't know what we're talking about, but that's a good one. Yo, Javonni, go ahead.
Okay, so the moral of the story is Beyonce is great and the greatest. And also just to make sure that you continue to surround yourself with like-minded people who are trying to reach goals like we are, all like-minded, and and it just gives you good energy. So that's my moral of the story. Oh, also to make sure that you are paying attention to what's going on in Florida with Amendment 4 and felon voting rights. It's a trial going on right now, where a judge has pretty much already ruled that it is unconstitutional to make people pay fines and fees to vote, according to the U.S. Constitution 14th Amendment. So they're going back and forth about, well, they voted for it, so they already knew they were going to have to do this. And the judge is just like, but they don't have the money. So they're trying to figure out what to do for felons who thought they would vote. So make sure that's on your radar.
Cool. Dope. Yo, and my moral of the story is we live in a capitalistic society. Everybody's buying and selling something, whether it's sex, whether it's your persona, whether it's whatever it is. It's goods and services. Everybody, we have become transactional. So if you want to monetize yourself, make sure you do it so that you can be economically viable. But in the dating world, it's okay. I know I hurt some of y'all today with my truth bombs. People are lying to you. It's okay. But it's your job to equip yourself with the knowledge and the wherewithal to cipher through the BS so you can get to the goal on the other side and claim your victory. That's it for the Soapboxx Podcast. For Ish, for Alan, for Javonni, for Jesse, this is TJ Legacy. This is the Soapboxx Podcast. We out. Peace.